Hello to all the Prêt-à-Template designers and lovers. Let's take a look at the new section in the accessories tab. And if you navigate through these little icons or by hand, you'll find the new templates family scarves. There's 20 new templates that are also present in the puzzle look. So take a look at all of them, and I'm going to show you this article in Vogue where you can see different examples of how the head scarf can be worn, and this picture, this look will recreate, so you can browse through and see different looks created with the head scarf. Let's get back and save this picture as a reference. So I'm back to the app and I split screen by dragging the picture app from the tab below. I'm going to resize it in order to have a more comfortable view and keep it here on the side. Now let's bring back the left sidebar again, get to puzzle look section, select the woman catwalk and start adding features. So one by one I will be selecting what I want to add. I don't know if I want the hair or not. I'll just check what's out there, but I think I'm confident I'm going to just draw it without a template. So I'll press back on the hair icon to remove everything that I selected. And let's browse some scarves. And this one is actually exactly what I need. As for the coat, I'm going to draw it and then I can add a bag like this. And as for the boots, I will try to find something to help me draw it, although it's not really necessary, but I like this option. I think it's nice. So yeah, the pieces aren't exactly like the boots aren't exactly as the reference, but the idea is that they will just serve me as a guide, and then I'm going to remove the template and just draw over it whatever I want with whatever alterations that I require. So I'm starting on the first layer. I'm gonna leave only the middle view. I love the side view too though, but yeah, I'm going to leave only the middle one. And let's start drawing on this view. What I want to do is make sort of a big look, a big illustration in like an hour time frame. And the idea is that I want to be as quick as I can be with my time and use the most efficient ways. So when it comes to face, I want to like really jump into finding the features right away. I use the pen to find the eye, and with just a few lines I will create a drawing of an eye, just tracing the template right now. And what I will do is that I will actually mirror it on the other side using scissor tool. So here's the scissors tool. You have to select the area and press this middle icon over here and then drag it and position it symmetrically on your drawing. And I will have to draw the mouth also according to the template. I will not use too many details. I will just try to establish a really basic sort of like a back drawing, a backdrop for detailed drawing, you know. I want to first just throw in big shapes, big colors, main features, and then when I have all of that, I will slowly develop on top of that and elaborate the drawing as far as I can get. So for the skin, as you can see, I created one more layer and I took it under to make sure that the drawing of the eyes and the mouth stays on top, because I don't want to draw over it. And the layers, they work like a sandwich. Whatever layer is up is going to appear on top. So I'm drawing on the layer under, so the skin color goes under the drawing of the eyes. And I will try to find the shape of the hair. I took a flat marker now so that I can fill with color large areas at the same time. And I'm trying to find the right position because it kind of covers the eyebrows. If you happen to leave the line of the hair too high up and then you don't draw the eyebrows, it's going to really look odd. So I'm making sure it gets really low up to the eyes, kind of covering quickly all of that area. Not going to draw individual hairs right now and anything of that. All I can see is that the shape of the hair is sort of rounded, and you can see that highlight right in the middle. So what I want to do is first I get the dark color, I quickly fill in this area, and then I'm going to take a lighter shade and swipe it across the center. So before I get into small hairs, small details, I first want to finish finding the big shape and the big light and the big shadow. So that's it for now. I'm just making sure the transition is slow so that it rounds in a nice way. Kind of like that it's time to work on the scarf. Pick one color that's going to be main color of the scarf. I'm taking this brownish color as a main one. You can pick blue if you want to start with blue and then add this one on top. It doesn't really matter because I don't like the patching the colors next to each other. It's always going to take more time because you'll have to make sure the edges meet nicely. But if you work this way, you can see that you can just fill in with one color and then just on top of this color drop other colors, you know, and it is going to blend nicely. So I didn't take care of the edges when I was drawing face, and when I was drawing hair, that saved me a lot of time because I knew I will be adding scarf on top, and while drawing it I will be refining the edge between the face, hair and the scarf. And now everything that went outside of the template borders, I'm just going to quickly remove with eraser. And for now, this level of detail for me is enough because I just want to establish kind of a quick look of how everything's gonna look when it's finished. And then get into a small details, as I said. So I'm working on a scarf. So here's the scarf drawing already, and what I need to do is now draw the coat under this scarf. Kind of comes underneath these edges that I drew. I don't want to lose them or have to draw over them and around them. So I took one more layer and I'm going to put it under the head drawing. So under the scarf drawing is going to be whatever I draw right now. It will not interrupt the edges. So let's take a look. If I take a black color for the coat and just want to see the template. I'm going to start finding the volume of this coat with pencil. Now whatever I draw, it gets kind of hidden under the scarf. That's a cool thing about layers, because it's under the other layer. Whatever I draw, it went under the scarf. Probably a lot of you know how to work with layers, but for people who actually don't have an experience, it's really important to understand this tool because it's really useful. And I remember when I was first starting to draw with layers, it took me a while to understand how to work with it. So it's really important to take an advantage of whatever tools you have at your disposal to make your drawing more quick, more efficient, to have more pleasure from drawing, and allow the tools to aid you and not to distract you from your intentions in drawing. So here is going to be the length of the coat under the knees approximately, as I suspect, and I have no idea how this coat would look like if she's standing exactly, but I just I'm trying to imagine it, that it has this shape of a cloud and a lot of folds, big folds, and I'm just trying to find this shape first. The drawing is done and I am ready to color it right now. I'm going to make one more layer, press on the plus and drag it under because I want the drawing to stay on top and the coloring to be under the drawing. And I will take a flat marker of a large size so that I can quickly tackle such a big area like this and use these really wide swipes to get the big shape colored quickly. And I know the color overlaps and it doesn't scare me at all. I really love it because it adds depth and texture right away, because when you have a flat shape of a flat color, it looks really two-dimensional. You have to work on adding the light and the shadow. Now with marker, you don't have to do the job twice, sort of. In one go, you can start having already 2-3 different values on the shape, which breaks the illusion of two-dimensionality and makes it have a certain volume. I think it really saves time when you work on shapes like this. And I'll just work across the shape this way really loosely to fill it in with color. And the shape is pretty dark now, so I'll start adding some lighter values to it. So I just used the same black color from a standard palette, but a lighter version of it using that toggle on top of the screen. And I'm just going to find big shapes of light, not like any small individual shapes, but like big shapes, big light. And once I'm happy with this really large pattern of shadow and light, I'm going to leave it. So this white stripe on the side, I'm going to use one more layer to quickly find its placement. I'm using a flat marker again. I think other tools can be used too, but this is really This is really simple for me because the tool is flat, so it's like a rectangular. To drag a line is really quick. I'm just finding a little bit of movement, finding those beautiful folds. I think I can get the hands now, so one more layer now for the hands. And I'll find that same color I used for the face to just find the shape. I will simply trace the template. Done with this, and next thing I'll work on the bag. So one more layer again, and I will make a template slightly more visible. So the shape, I'm happy with it, except in my mind I have another placement for a bag. I want to keep it in her hand because on this shape of the coat I'm not sure exactly how it would be working, because the sleeve kind of is combining with the overall shape and it's kind of complicated. So what I want to do is make her hold the bag in a hand, kind of like on the picture. But first I will use a template to get the shape. I'm just finding the outline. I'm using a pen. I did a light swipe, like a wash across with a marker. I think any tool can be used. Pen is nice to find small intricate details, which I'm doing right now, and I just need to make sure I get the shape right. Okay, I think this is enough, and I will take scissors tool, select the area with the bag, and this is why I needed it on a separate layer, because I only want to drag bag without the black color. And I will place it kind of like the way as if she's holding it. I can also rotate it a bit to make it more vertical because it's hanging down. Once I'm happy with it, I'm just going to leave it there. Press on this first icon, and you can just simply use an eraser to remove the old placement. Okay, perfect. And shoes is the next thing to work on. I'm going to take a black pen and find the outline. Basically, the overall shape is the same, except I will add a platform to the bottom. That's it. I'm adding one more layer under the drawing of the boots. And I'm going to add some black color to fill it in. That's it. So the first part of my drawing is done. I actually want to make a copy of my drawing and work from a copy right now, because I might merge some layers and I want to keep the old copy there with more layers. So adding the details, I'll probably work in exactly the same sequence as I did this first back drawing, a rough drawing. And start by adding details to the face. I took one more layer on top. And the face currently looks flat, although you can see some shadows on the reference. So I took a darker skin tone color, a flat marker, and what I'm trying to do is finding the shadows on the face. I made these darker lines around the nose, under the nose as well. I'm going to work on the sides of the face. If you're not feeling confident with this step, don't take a color that's really different from the first one. Pick the one that is just slightly darker. That way the shadows won't look so dramatic and you will feel more confident to add them, because sometimes when the color is too dark, it just breaks the face into like two separate shapes. So it might feel intimidating. I took a really close color to the one that I had to be able to work free and not to worry about it so much. And then I will gradually make it darker and find within this color that I just added a slightly darker areas. So the transition is going to be much softer. I feel the mouth is a bit too low the way it's drawn, so I'm going to fix it at this stage. It's very easy. I'm just going to take a color and start drawing it slightly higher to reduce the distance between the mouth and the nose. Kind of like a lip liner, I will outdraw the shape that I already have. And for the lips, I will just pick 2 or 3 shades and find volume, placing lighter colors in the middle and darker on the outer corners. Now I'll add the shadow between the face and the scarf as well, because since these are two different separate shapes, the place where they meet has a deep shadow, so it's not just a drawing for the sake of outline. It's actually it is actually a shadow, so it's important to find it. Finding some nuances of the hair. Without overdoing it, I will just find 2-3 few different darker lines and a couple of lighter ones. I'll probably find some pencil lines, because the pen ones, they seem too artificial. Yeah, this is good enough, so I'll switch to pencil and start working on the face features. It looks like the face drawing is detailed enough. I can work on the scarf. I took a new layer. So now I'm just going to do a 2-step process. The first one, I'll find these different individual colors, like a blue one and a red one. I'm just extracting them using a color pick tool directly from the photo. So I will just find these areas of color. And if my color is a bit too transparent, that's also great, because only that yellow color that peeks through will again add dimensionality to the blue area, because it's not flat. So it actually makes the drawing complete at once, if you know what I mean, because it has this diversity, it has this deep blue, and it has that blue where a little bit of yellow peeks through. So it makes that area already very interesting. So I'll just patch these different colors to make it look kind of like on the picture. And then the step 2 is going to be adding some pattern, like these yellow swirls. I think I'll use a ready pattern for that. Time to add some pattern. I'll find some yellow color and check the library, and I'm pretty sure there's a number of options that can be used actually. So I'll just pick one. Maybe this one is going to be pretty close. Anything that has flowers or some kind of curves is actually going to work just fine. Just thinking which one am I going to use. I'll just take the one I spotted before. Without too much thinking, I'll just use it. So I'm choosing this family now, and yeah, I need to find the right one. This is not the one. I'm trying to swatch it here. It was the second one. So I'm going to make a large area as a swatch. I feel the pattern is a bit too big, so what I do in this case is that I kind of draw this area of pattern. I make sure it's big because I'm going to make it smaller. So I squeeze it like this using scissors tool, size it to the size that I need, apply. Now, one important thing, when you select it and then you drag it, make sure you switch to the new layer. You see I have one more layer on top, and I switched to that layer. Now, coming back to the layer with this area, I select it, I start sizing it, switch to the new layer, and leave it on the new layer. This is important. Why? Because now I'm going back to this layer. I'm going to remove the big one from this side completely. And now I will take the layer with my smaller patterns that are on a separate layer and remove everything else, and you see the scarf with its original colors. It stays underneath, it's not disturbed by these eraser. This is important part to consider. Moving on to the coat, the task is to find a beautiful pattern of folds and this draped fabric. Definitely going to choose some lighter color, because if you see in the reference, the light is represented with a lighter color. So I am trying to find large areas and then move on to the nuances of the smaller shapes. I will take a black color to find these deep creasings. Yeah, and that's that, and hopefully it looks something like the reference. I changed the size of the brush and take a black color to find these smaller shadows. So I took the smallest size of the marker and get into a smaller shapes like these folds over here on the shoulder. And not forgetting about the white part, I think it needs some refinement because it's rather rough right now. I want to clean the edges slightly. I want to find a beautiful shadows where the line folds, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, just a cleaner shape and more beautiful places where it folds. For the hands, the idea is pretty much the same as for the face. I need to find a little darker color than I have currently. Find a couple of shadows to give a volume to the shape of the hand. Fix the edges. And yeah, I'll keep it pretty simple without too much detailed drawing, but just these simple shapes. Finding the layer with the bag to further develop these, I'm going to find some dark brownish purple kind of color and treat this area as the area in the shadow, the one you see up front, because if you look at the reference, you will notice a very big value difference between the light and shadow on the back, which means it's really shiny. So in order to convey that, I have to stick to this idea that the shadows are going to be really dark, almost black. So I took this really dark color and trying to fill in this area. At the same time, I will try to see how I can convey the shape of these foldings, but it's going to be overall really dark. And then the side of the bag is going to be much lighter because you can see the light on the bag is really different and really light. So that's that. Here I'm going to keep a couple of light stripes to show the folded nature of this shape. And currently the bag is on top of the hand, so I'm taking this layer and dragging it under so it hid itself inside the hand. Now the boots, they already have really dark shadows. They have a middle kind of value shadow as well, so it lacks highlights and lights. And I take this pen to add these details here. So I added one more layer and trying to add the lights. I'm using a pen for the platform to be really precise, and I will use a combination of a pen for a really highlights, and I'll take a watercolor brush to like make the transition between the light and shadow softer. So here's a final result. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching it. Please give it a like and subscribe to this channel to see more tutorials like this.